So we're here with Jennifer and Matthew Holm, the creators of Babymouse. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks for having us.
So let's just talk Babymouse for a second to find out, what is Babymouse for people like, let's say, me, who may not be the inner child, parents, what is Babymouse?
Well,
Dun, dun, dun.
it's very pink or
Lightish red.
lightish
Right.
red. Yeah. And so Babymouse sort of came to be because when we were growing up, we're 2 of 5 kids, and I'm the only girl. So I grew up with a lot of comic books in the house because of all the young men around. And, kind of at the time, there weren't a lot of strong female characters that I related to. And so I was always kind of wishing there was a cool girl character that I could kind of, identify with. And so many years later, we started working on Babymouse together. And luckily, I had a brother who was a cartoonist, so...
Yeah, and Babymouse, she's just kind of your everyday kid. She goes to school, and of course, all the other kids at school are other animals. Like her arch nemesis is Felicia Furry Paws, who's a cat. And Babymouse is given to little flights of fantasy, so she starts daydreaming that she's doing something crazy when she should be paying attention in class, basically.
And so how did you guys, come up with Babymouse? Of all the creatures in the world and all the concepts, where does Babymouse come from?
There are a lot of rodents in children's literature. A lot of vermin. No, I was having what I like to think of as a Baby Mouse day. It's kind of like, it's a day that just starts bad and gets worse. Like everything possible could go wrong. And I think kids get that. They're late for school or whatever. And I came home, and I was still working at the time, of course. And I just was standing in the kitchen, and this image of this sort of irritable little mouse with attitude popped into my head. And it's a real Subway story. I was living in Brooklyn, and he was living in Queens. So the next time we saw each other, I gave him the napkin, and I'm like, well, what do you think? And then it was 2 years of us working on it. It wasn't like an overnight, like, oh, here's the idea. So
She had already been published as a young adult author by this point. She's already writing a lot of historical fiction novels, that sort of thing. But it was still, graphic novels for kids weren't really an idea that people were thinking about at that point. And so it was sort of a tough sell.
Tough sell.
Yeah.
It was hard.
We had to keep pitching until kind of people started coming around like, oh, yeah, kids might want to read comics. What do you know?
Yeah.
Well, and Babymouse is kind of taken over. It's the kind of thing where lots and lots and lots of people are doing it. It's one of the top-selling graphic novels in bookstores now, correct?
Yeah, it's doing well. Let's hope.
Overnight
Our
success
little
5
mouse.
years later.
So so take me through the creative process here now. So Babymouse has been a cupcake tycoon. She has been a race car driver. She's been a mad scientist. She's had all these different things. So take me through the creative process on a Babymouse adventure. Go.
And there's my Babymouse, my in-house Babymouse. We pretty much start off with a storyboard. I actually used to work in advertising, so I was very comfortable using a storyboard. So I'll write the whole manuscript using the storyboard format and give it to Matt.
So it'll sort of be like a storyboard, but without the picture,
Yeah.
And so it'll have everything else, all the little parts that you're going to have on the page. The narration, the dialogue, the actual description of what the characters are doing. So then I take that, I do thumbnail sketches in pencil, send them to her, and then she prints them out on her end and cuts them out and pastes down. So she actually is the one who makes the layout for the book. So then once she's made the layout, she sends it back to me, and then I take that and I take a Sharpie marker and some more paper and draw sketches that are a little bit better but still pretty loose, because I find when I do like really tight pencil sketches, it gets kind of stiff by the time you're done at the end. And then once we've shown that to our editors and they're happy, then I go through and do the finals inside the computer completely. So all the final art is totally digital. So, yeah.
And so now the Babymouse world is expanding a little bit with Squish. Tell us a little bit about Squish. And Squish is not pink. Squish is
Squish is a slimy green. Like he gets to show up. He makes a little guest appearance in Babymouse Mad Science. It's a classic comic book crossover. Superman meets Batman. Babymouse meets Squish.
Yeah. And then he gets his own series. And Squish is an amoeba. Who was inspired by Matt's childhood. In fact, you might see the resemblance, kind of like Matt. Oh, just kidding. So he lives in a pond. His best friend is a paramecium. They have a teacher who's a rotifer. So there's a little
bit of science in there for the kids.
Area,
not ramming it down their throats or anything. Just trying to make it ambient so it's fun. They pick it up.
And it's pond scum green, where it's an appropriate color for a pond.
Yeah. And Babymouse, her thing is she likes to read a lot. She reads a lot of books, and then she sort of imagines that she's in the books, whether it's a fairy tale or something else. And Squish, he's a big comic book fan, so he reads superhero comics, and his favorite is Super Amoeba. And so Super Amoeba does things like, fight a giant plant monster that looks like asparagus, or fights giant leeches that come to destroy a town, that sort of thing.
And so is Squish going to have multiple adventures like Babymouse, or is Squish sort of a one-off? What's the plan?
We got more books. We're doing. We've already done 2 are done and ready to print, and I'm working on the 3rd one right now, and she's writing the 4th one. So we're just chugging along.
The first one will be out in a month, May 11th, and then this one, and then the second one will be out in September, and then it's like every 6 months after that.
So we've got mice, we've got amoebas.
Yeah.
Any other projects involving biological?
People are boring. Yeah, this will keep us plenty busy.
I think we're full up now, officially.
All right, well, thank you very much for meeting with us, and
Great.
It was a pleasure as always. Thank you.
Great
Thank
talking
you.
to you. Thanks.
Go Stumptown.